Good evening, my little soldier. I know. Usually it's your servants that put you to bed. I'm always so busy as the Emperor. But I wanted to make some time for you tonight. I'm still a parent, after all, and you're still my child. You've already washed, yes? All that's left for you is to get into bed and go to sleep. Good, good. There isn't any rush, though. We can talk for a little bit. There is a reason that I chose tonight to visit. I've been told that you're having a little bit of trouble with your teachers lately. I understand. Believe me, it's a lot of responsibility being the child of the Emperor, and you didn't ask for it. But if you could bring yourself to sit still for your lessons, you might find that there's a lot of fascinating things for you to learn. I know, my little soldier. Combat training is your favorite. I swear you'll be better on the battlefield than soldiers twice your age when you're ready. But you're not destined to be a mere soldier, you know. That's just a nickname. You're going to be a leader. And for a leader, what you know is much more important than what you can do on your own. I know you struggle with studying, and I think that some of the blame lies with me. I brought some of the most knowledgeable people in the Empire to tutor you, but they're not necessarily the best teachers, and they certainly don't know how to properly make use of your many talents. I promise, I'll get some better tutors for you. They'll be much more hands-on, take you out of the palace and show you the real world close up. I bet you'll like that, won't you? Good. Now, if I remember correctly, the servants usually read you a story before bed, don't they? Would it be all right if I read you a special story tonight? Splendid. Go ahead and hop into bed then. I wrote this story myself. Well, I had it written for me, I suppose. But it's especially for you, because there are some things that you ought to know. Are you ready? There once was a king who ruled over a large kingdom. It was a wealthy, prosperous nation, guided by the great wisdom of its ruler. The royalty and nobility lived comfortable, happy lives, and the common people were proud to be able to work hard to support them. But because the king was so wise, he knew that this peace might not last. He knew that the kingdom needed to be more than a kingdom to have the strength to protect itself and its peace. It needed to become an empire. You're as quick on the draw as ever, my little soldier. This is indeed a story about myself. It's important that you know how I became the emperor I am today, so that you know what it is you'll be inheriting one day. Now, allow me to continue. So, the king declared himself an emperor and began to bring neighboring kingdoms into the fold. These kingdoms were very fortunate to join the empire, even if they didn't realize it at the time. Some people, uncomfortable with change, foolishly resisted, and the emperor performed his solemn duty and suppressed their rebellions for their own good. Despite the occasional uprisings from the ignorant and ungrateful, the empire expanded steadily day by day, until one day an enemy arose to oppose the emperor, a false hero who tricked the people into believing the emperor didn't have the right to rule. At first, the false hero was barely a threat, but more and more citizens of the empire, and even of kingdoms who had yet to join it, rallied under the hero's promise of pointless freedom instead of the safety and prosperity of the Empire. Hmm? Oh, no. That's something that many commoners misunderstand. Freedom isn't really a right. It's a privilege. It's a privilege granted to those who take on the burden of rule as a reward for their hard work. Them and those who are most loyal to them. The commoners wouldn't know what to do with freedom. They'd only make themselves miserable with it. It's a good thing we're changing your tutors. It seems your history teacher has planted some naive thoughts in your head, little soldier. Trust me, this is the best way to lead a nation. After all, who knows how to lead better than the most powerful emperor in the world? But people just don't know what's best for them. The false hero knew that, you see. People who call themselves heroes are arrogant and cruel. They lie to people around them, giving them things they don't need and taking away the things they do, all to gain fame and glory. Absolutely despicable. And this so-called hero is the worst one I have ever seen, then or since. Now let's not have any more interruptions, It's very important that we finish the story, and I can see that your eyes already want to shut. Now, that is, the Emperor, knew he had to act quickly and strike this hero for the good of his people. But it was difficult to track down such a crafty enemy. The Emperor's own people would shelter them, taken in by their lies. Unfortunately, those people had to face punishment for the sake of the greater good. But after years of searching, quelling rebellion, and disciplining rabble-rousers, the Emperor's dedication was rewarded. He found the hero's secret home, where they would hide away when they weren't infiltrating the Empire. The Emperor personally led a squad of his finest soldiers to eliminate this dreadful threat to the Empire's peace. The false hero was taken by surprise, but nonetheless they fought like an unnatural beast. Many of the Empire's most loyal and noble soldiers were lost that day. The battle grew so frantic that even the Emperor himself was forced to risk his own life and join in. The hero landed several blows on the brave Emperor, to the point that he walked with a limp for the rest of his days, and bore a scar on his face. I wish I could tell you that the Emperor managed to slay the foul villain, but he could not. As the Emperor's forces began to try and surround them, the false hero fled. The Emperor, still bloodied from the fight, stumbled into the hero's home to search for some hint of where they were headed, but what he found instead was far more valuable. It was a tiny infant, sleeping in a makeshift crib, the hero's very own child, simply abandoned there so they could save themselves. No doubt the hero had intended to raise the child to carry on their devious plans. The Emperor was overcome with empathy for the little baby. The false hero had been living in filth and poverty in order to stay ahead of the Emperor's patrols, and the poor infant was weak and dirty. No child should have to live that way. So, the Emperor decided to raise the child as his very own, to give the ill-fated infant a better chance at life. And if, perhaps, the false hero someday returned, the Emperor would then use to protect the child, and in the process get his revenge for all the imperial citizens who had been led astray. And that, my little soldier, is how you came to be my child. I'm so very glad I was able to rescue you from the life of poverty and crime that you were destined before. Even though my duties as Emperor keep me very busy, it's been a delight to watch you grow. I only want what's best for you. For that reason, I only ask that you do your very best in your studies. I'm certain that you'll find out before long that you can actually have a knack for learning. You've always been clever, after all. You may not be my child by blood, but you absolutely take after me that way all the same. I'm certain you'll be leading my army someday, and bringing peace and prosperity to all our neighbors. And who knows, maybe you'll even be able to capture that no-good biological parent of yours someday. We could both get the revenge we deserve. I hope that thought brings you pleasant dreams. Good night, my little soldier. Good night, and sleep soundly.